So everyone knows I love Y.M.C.A, the Village People. I got the honour of interviewing 4 members of the current Kings of Disco, former members of Village. My name's Jay, and I have a chat show on Spotify and YouTube called A Chat with Jay. And today, the biggest interview of my life, former members of Village People, the Kings of Disco. Bill Whitefield, the construction worker. Eric Anzalone, the Leatherman. Alex Briley, G.I. Joe, Army Man, and Ray Simpson, one of the best frontmen I've seen. He's the copper. We reminisced about the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but we know they're called the Kings of Disco. But what happened? Let's see when we talk to them on our show. But also, we're going to find out how to get them down here, because when they were here in 2017, they rocked the house, and they can do it again. Spread this video around. Looking forward to releasing it. And thank you so much, the Kings of Disco. We want you down under again, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much, and always do the Y.M.C.A. Room and ask what your biggest thrill was as a performer. It's not just Village People, Kings of Disco. It's you as a performer. I mean, watching you guys perform live and on video. What's your biggest thrill? There was Ray. I'll go over to you, my friend. What was the one that really gave you goosebumps?
Well, when we did with Kelsey Grammer, we did In the Navy on the big ship and all of that, and it was a silly video. And Kelsey Grammer is a really fun guy. He's he's really comical,
Yeah.
And when that was the thrill. My brother played it for me. Let me see, about 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Oh wow, yeah, I remember that." And it was so much fun to see. And I loved it when Alex rolled his eyes too. He can roll his eyes in a circle like that. All kinds of little crazy little incidents went on in there. It was so much fun, but it was a great video. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic, Alex. What about yourself, man? I mean, you're just a stoic human being on as a performer, man. You just get the job done. You're smiling, you know. They go, remember the army. They call it the Army Man. Okay, so down here they call you G.I. Joe after saying, "What about G.I. Joe?" Okay. And that's an honor to be called that. What about yourself, man? You've been through it all. I mean, the first time I saw you was on the San Francisco video when you were down there with Philippe was there and a few others, and yeah, that's when you started. When I first saw you. Your biggest highlight at the moment, my friend? I mean, obviously, other than every night.
There's so many of them, but I think it's just the fact that your music still reaches so many, even in this day and time, and every audience that we come to, they have a moment where they're in their own world, and then it all comes together with Y.M.C.A. and you see people just jumping up and down. Just imagine seeing waves of people just enjoying themselves.
Yep.
And we still appreciate that so much. So that gives me a thrill each time, even to this day with the show that we did in New Mexico and all. It's been a fun, and it's all because of these gentlemen, working with them.
Eric, what about yourself, my friend? What's your I guess hair raising moment in some ways?
Yeah, well, I'll just continue on with the Y.M.C.A. It was the first tour I did with them, again, going back to Europe in '94. And it was one of the bigger shows that we've, I think, ever done. There were like over, I don't know, it was like 200,000 people on a beach in Finland. It was the Midnight Sun Festival. And to that point, it was the biggest crowd that I've ever performed in front of. And when we got to Y.M.C.A, the actual chorus part of Y.M.C.A, and everyone put their hands up, I stopped singing because I couldn't believe what it looked like to not see the end of people, even people in trees, and everyone moving together. It was like this. It was like a living thing that just went on forever, and I couldn't sing. I just like. It took my breath away, and that's when I realized the power of music. I mean,
that's right.
Been a musician my whole life. I definitely understand what that means, but to actually physically see it manifesting itself was remarkable, and it was something I'll never forget. And of course, it never ceases to amaze me. We've again continued to play to large crowds every time. It's at least I keep singing this time, but it's almost like you never really get used to it. It's just kind of one of those things. And it just reminds you of how blessed you are as a musician to be a part of something like that.
Yeah.
Which like you said, thank you very much, Jay, for saying that, we're all gentlemen. To me, and I'm sure to everyone who's on this call, my brothers here, we don't take for what we do for granted,
No,
and
I know you don't.
understand that the group is bigger than any one of us, and we're nothing without our fans. So it's why wouldn't you be a gentleman to the people that that lift you up? It's the circle of being blessed, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but anyway, that's it.
What's your hair standing moment, my brother?
Well, I mean,
keep thinking about this.
it's going to be hard to top Eric's and these guys'. But, it's funny enough, kind of more recently, as the Kings of Disco, we played for Andre Rieu.
Wow, really?
And he puts on a huge show in front of how many people. It's just a huge square it's in Maastricht, right? Am I right? In
Maastricht, yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
With a full 100-piece orchestra and full choir behind you, with just and we were in tuxedos. I mean, we weren't even in so it was kind of we weren't even village people anymore. But still to be received by a group of people that just went crazy and wanted to get up and dance with us, and that was a thrill, to be honest, because it was all everything. We were fully backed by an orchestra, not just a band, a huge orchestra. So that's thrilling for me too, to have that sort of rush of that, as a musician or as a singer, you can imagine having a huge orchestra behind you like that, and a huge square with people just going crazy. That was a lot of fun. But to Eric's point, anytime you do a show, an outdoor show, like maybe a rave, like we did Mexico City, and there were some really big people. What was the name of that? El Norte or something? What was that?
It was El Norte. That was with the Imagine Dragons, right?
Imagine Dragons were there. That was fun. They wanted to meet us. Like they were banging on our doors to get pictures with us, and I was
wow, that's cool.
That was kind of mind blowing, to be honest. That's
amazing, gentlemen.
Because talk about gentlemen. They're awesome. They subsequently invited us to their shows and gave us free. They're just great guys. But anyway, just to be kind of feeling like you're in a part of that, something like Eric says, much bigger than you. I think about those 2 or 3 moments of, oh my God, is this really happening to me? Are we really meeting this person right now? Are we really standing backstage at this, at the Playa Theater and, wherever, I guess in Sydney, or these kinds of opportunities, which you just don't get in normal life.
Well, okay, so let's go back to your show, Kings of Disco. We want that to happen. I'll rock up as the Indian when I jump up on stage with you. Do you know that? But
you get us out there, we'll bring you up. Trust me.
Oh, mate, I'll be honoured. But I'm just thinking, does that happen now? And how do you get that across? Because that's going to be a big seller down here in Australia. That people will want to dress up and go, hang on, they were the village people. It's not a problem. I mean, we know this, but you are now Kings of Disco. So how do we get that? How do we get these people, other than me mouthing off? And me and my mate Kev mouthing off that these guys are the best and you should dress up. How do you get that concept across when you do go to shows?
Well,
I wonder.
Go ahead. Whoever was going.
Alex.
No, I'm still thinking about that because it's just incredible. It's almost as though part of the admission is dress up like one of us, your favorite, whatever that is. And there's been so many of them over the years that it's and one of the things that has also surprised us is the generations. We started out with the 70s, and those were people that were our age. Now they are parents and grandparents and all, and they still want to enjoy with us. And you see them come out. It's a
They're kidding.
remarkable thing to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a remarkable thing to see going. So we just hoped wherever we go that if we see someone that is dressed up and taking the time to
Yeah.
enjoy the show that way, hey,
And you
we
know
give you
what?
give you a shout out.
For sure. And
Brilliant.
sometimes you're not dressed as one of us or one of the characters in Village People. Sometimes you just have on fabulous 70s, bell bottom pants with sequins,
Whatever.
and just
See them.
dolled up. And they're just in the spirit of the 70s. And it's a whole sort of, which that's great too, people, or even if they're just wearing an old vintage Village People t shirt. That always means a
Or a
lot
fake
too.
mustache.
Or they're doing,
Oh
or they're
yeah,
doing
the massive.
hats.
Yeah.
It's flattering. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
So what do we? So how do we get? So back to my question with that, we want that at the Kings of Disco shows. Is that part of? Is that part of the gimmick that we get people to
We
dress up as well? How does it go?
Well, we would definitely, we would come out there if somebody wanted to host us out there, somebody wanted to bring us out there, we would absolutely come out there. You're talking about a certain location that some of these recent disco people have.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, down here,
I
down in Melbourne's the way to go for this one.
You're in Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, Melbourne. We got got a lot of places. But as I said to you, we want to push the Kings of Disco because that's what you are, but also just honor the Village people. That's what I was just saying to you.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. We do have fun '70s costumes that we kind of start the show in, but we graduate. We get there. Don't worry. We kind of make them wait a little for it.
Yep,
But
that's good.
That's when it kind of erupts. It's not necessarily at the time. And listen, we can do it different ways. It depends on what show we decide to do. But we do kind of, we get to, like we said earlier, we get to do different kind of music. We do break our costumes up a little bit, but we do give them what they want. We do eventually make an appearance as these characters,
Absolutely. And it's a finisher. It's a big finisher. But but it looks like you're really having fun with the songs. I mean, a lot of people, but as I said, down here, Boney M came down here, Sister Sledge, Jackson 5, mate, and they sold out within days of the tickets going on sale. So there is a massive push for disco here, and there's a lot of people who love that kind of music. It's just that real big split down here. Eric, you want to go? Eric, you can. You want to comment on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, we love Australia. I think if you want to be literal about it, it's the actual logistics of getting the six of us and our crew down to Australia.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because if you guys are around the corner, we would be there in a second. So it would require us to do a bit of a tour or a couple shows. But we are, even though we are now Kings of Disco, we are former members of Village People, and we can certainly talk about that and all the good stuff. And in fact, a lot of the footage that we have and that we use was from Australia and the shows that we've done down there, from Good Morning Australia to the Footy Show to the special that we've done to even clips from the shows we did down there when we were on the Share tour. My favorite tour was when we're down there with Boy George in 2001. It was the Culture Club Village People.
Yeah, remember that.
And,
that was, yeah.
It was, yeah. So, what's the Australian group? Oh, I'm blanking.
That's right. I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah, they were they had a cover here in the United States that was big. Anyway, that'll come to me. But
not Ice House. As Ice House says.
No, they were like an '80s band. They did Funky Town.
Pseudo Echo.
Pseudo Echo. Thank you very much. Yeah. Pseudo Echo.
They're still going.
I know they are. Yeah, actually, we kind of have a connection with them through Bjorn again, which is, I think, based in Melbourne too. So,
we work with them.
But Australia, it's like our second home, really. I mean, honestly, we've been there so many times. Like I said, my ex-wife is Australian. I mean, I have literal family in Australia.
But don't take that personally, guys.
Yeah, no. It has nothing to do with the country. Sydney girl, raised in Brizzy, but Melb's is my favorite. I'm going to be honest, but we'd love to get back there.
It's always been crazy. It's always been crazy, especially with when you come out and I mean, you did an hour show, especially at the Palais, like the last one in 17, and that was just you blew the roof off. Ray, you were on fire that night, my friend. I said to my friend of mine, I said to my friend and Kev, I said, Ray's on fire tonight. Mate, you were really feeling the energy that night, my friend. Do you remember anything from that show?
Well, I just love Australia because I love going to Perth. I had friends there, Sydney, Melbourne. I mean, all over the place. It's just been a wonderful trip every time I went down there. Never had a bad trip. Never.
Oh, mate, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys on here, but also come to Australia.